Hello everybody, I hope you're having a fantastic day. It's Mailbag Day, so that means I'm having a good day. First one up, we've got a thing. There's actually two of these, and I think I know what they are. I'm going to cut just because there's a number on the back you guys can't see, but this is one of two Google Fi SIM cards. I don't know why they ship them separately, but for those of you who don't know, Google Fi phone service is fantastic. Not the cheapest phone service in the world, but you do get, and this is not a commercial, I just happen to get these SIM cards, but you do get data in over 200 countries, and one of the things that you get with it is the ability to have up to 5 data-only SIMs, which means that when I travel, I actually give my wife a data-only SIM for her phone, and I'll have them in other phones and other devices. So basically all over the world, you can have free data. So I put them in Arduinos, I put them in all kinds of things, and I just ordered a couple of extra SIMs. So there they are. I do have a link to Google Fi. A few times people have used it, and that's awesome. I have a link in there where I think you get a discount and I get a discount if you sign up using my link in the description of the video. So. All right, so we got a couple things here. These are some push buttons. I actually don't have this style. I need them for a project. These are kind of a lower profile. I think they're technically called waterproof, but these are a lower profile button that I'm going to be using on a project. Essentially, I'm going to use one of these as a reset button, and then I've got an Arduino, and it has EEPROM storage on it. And so what I'm going to do is if you hold the second button after you let go of the reset button, then it'll put it into like a setup mode. So I'm going to be using a couple of these, and I wanted lower profile ones that as the boxes get moved around, they won't hit the button and stuff like that. So I got that. And then this is for something similar. I really like these, what are they called? GX aircraft style connectors. And so this is a 5/8 inch drill bit, which has a metric equivalent that I don't know off the top of my head, but it's very sharp. But I put a lot of those GX connectors. Let me grab one. So I've got, this is probably a bad example one to grab, but I've got these GX style connectors that have pins on them. Get one apart there, these kind of pins and stuff like that. And there's not a lot of bite on the on this little built-in washer type thing. And I mean, I could slide another washer on there, but it's just relatively difficult to get them drilled in. So I got the exact size drill bit that I need to allow the connector to fit without the washer slipping through. And so what I'll do is I will pre-drill with smaller ones. But one of the things I found is a lot of times I like to use step bits. But these things, you need to be close enough that it's actually kind of problematic to use step bits. So because I need to put some of these in metal, I wanted the right size drill bit for the job. So I got, 15 buttons in here and the 5/8 inch drill bit. This is probably more expensive than it would have been from Walmart, but I didn't like the one I got at Walmart last time. But this is a Windshield Repair Kit, and some people don't like these things. I've actually had really good luck with these things over the years. You know, treats bullseyes and stuff like that. You can't really do ones that have kind of run off into different cracky directions, but you basically clean the window out, you pick out any little bits of broken glass, you squeeze in an epoxy, you put some pressure on there, then eventually you peel it off and you scrape it flush, and it won't make the crack invisible. So if it's in the middle of somewhere where where you're going to see it, it may not be the best idea, but it's a good option for when the thing is is off to the side or something like that. So my wife had a rock hit her windshield actually right behind the mirror, and just took out like a little tiny bullseye, maybe the size of a dime. So I'm going to use this on that. All right, next up we've got another Amazon one. This is a card reader. Okay, so I had a rough day on, what was it, Saturday or Sunday? Early in the morning I was up, and I had not one, but 2 USB micro SD card readers give me trouble. And then I had a USB-C one, and it was in my computer, and it was constantly connecting and disconnecting. So I ordered a replacement one. I was kind of disappointed. I really liked the other one, but it only lasted about... I think I bought it in October, and so it's already kind of dead. So this one, the one downside of this one is the other one had 3 USB ports on it also, which was kind of nice. But I mainly need compact flash, SD, and micro SD, or micro SD and SD, whatever, and it has that. So I'll report back if I have any problems with it, but this is the best reviewed one on Amazon by a company called Ugreen, so I decided to grab it. I needed it, so I got it. Next up, I've got these sitting over here, so I'll just show them off to you. These are some more of these HDMI couplers, and I find myself using these things all the time. I've got one hooked up over here, so like in this situation, well, this actually goes well together. I have these 2 cables. We'll get the whole setup out. This is a this is a mini HDMI cable, and it has a right angle on it. And the reason why I like this style is they're good for the Raspberry Pi Zeros. And so if you look at it, we've got one that goes each direction. So I have a plan where I only needed one of them, but I got the other one, figuring it may come in handy one day. And then my thought is it's actually going to run out the back of a computer. So my thought is that I could transition it to female, and what I could do is I could design a 3D enclosure that would kind of grip onto this thing to where I could put in there and kind of give myself a jack. I really just wanted a female cable but couldn't find it, but I find myself using these things all the time. Like this is an HDMI cable that's connected into my TV at all times, but when I want to hook up the Raspberry Pi real quick, I grab one of these, or sometimes you need to extend them. So I got another 5 or 6 of these little HDMI couplers, as well as these right angle mini HDMI things. So they're pretty handy in my book. Next up, we've got a box, and I have no idea what this one is. Oh, okay, cool. Oh, 2 things. Great. So we'll set this one aside, but this is actually one. So I have I've got a 2010 van that does not have Bluetooth in it, and I was gonna change the stereo and then decided, and I hate those modulator things. But I do have a line-in jack on my stereo. So what I was thinking, and yeah, this is exactly what I'm going to do. Instead of, they always show them in the pictures where it's like this, and it's just sticking straight out. And I always thought that was kind of a dumb idea. But instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount this thing to my dash with the cable. So this is a Bluetooth receiver to 3.5 millimeter out, 1/8 inch out. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to come up with some relatively neat way to mount it and just have it permanently mounted to the dash for Bluetooth. And my cable's perfectly fine, but I thought about it. I'm probably going to wind up getting a new phone soon. So all the phones I'm looking at don't have Bluetooth built in. I looked at all the new Android stereos and stuff like that, and most of them have not been updated in a long time. And so I would much rather not have a 3-year-old, 4-year-old Android Auto stereo or anything like that. So it just seemed like there wasn't any aftermarket stereo thing that really intrigued me. So I'm going to go with this and see how it goes. I would imagine it'll be fine. You know, it's in close proximity to the phone, so Bluetooth to 1/8 inch should be perfectly fine for my use in the car. I'd expect the speakerphone to be garbage, and I probably won't use it, but you never know. I might get pleasantly surprised. I guess if I'm thinking about using it speakerphone, I may want to do some kind of isolation where there's some kind of padding so I'm not up against the hard part of the dash where it would vibrate more and pick up that. So we'll see. And if it doesn't work, I got something to tear down. And next up, we have this Panavise 1 foot wide PCB holder. So this is a little bit bigger. I guess I don't really know what I was expecting. But I have the Panavise that I got for Christmas, and I absolutely love it. And I'll probably put a picture up on the screen. One of the things I use it for a lot is that I solder a lot of connectors. And so I really like the ability to be able to put all the connector pieces down the bottom and things like that. And it's got sort of a round adapter on it, so I can grab onto the connector really well. And I just did a whole bunch of connectors today, and none of them fell out. You know, it just held it tight while I was soldering and all that kind of stuff. So the idea with this is that does have rubber jaws, and I mean, I haven't melted the jaws or anything like that yet, but this has a grippy you know, kind of groove side thing over here that can be used to hold the PCB. And then we do have a spring. I didn't realize that this was spring loaded, and that's kind of cool. You know, my other PCB stand is spring loaded, but I didn't expect this to be. So I think we're actually off by one. I think what happens is we don't need no stinking instructions. I think the deal is, and I would put this toward the back, that this, well, I guess I'm going to put it this way because it has to go that way. So let's see here. This screws in. I absolutely love the Panavise. It's big and it takes up, you know, some space in the office and stuff, but I really do love that thing. It's a really nice thing to have. And then this will allow me specifically to grip circuit boards. And it doesn't have any kind of ESD protection, which I'm guessing you could add if you wanted to, but so the idea is that it just sits in the vise and this part can be tilted around, but you also have all the adjustability of the vise itself. Let's grab it. So as the thing sits right now, I've got these jaws, they flip around. Both the physical jaws flip around as well as these pads flip around. And so I have it set up right now where I can grip these things and then I can loosen this and actually tilt it around this way where I would find it easier to solder. Or I can loosen the whole thing now and I can add in the circuit board holder, which that's a pretty quick change. And then let's grab something. All right, so let's try this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna slide this thing, well, let's lock this one in place. Again, we don't have time for instructions. These jaws aren't looking totally parallel, and maybe that's not abnormal. Let's see here. So we screw this down and then, yeah, so I mean, it's definitely holding it. I don't know, I feel like this thing should, maybe I have that too tight. We'll figure that out. But now what that allows me to do is to take this thing and tilt the entire board down this way, or even I'm guessing backwards, and you know, I can flip it around all different ways. I can actually do this and spin the board. You know, so there's options, which is kind of cool. If you tilt this, you can adjust which way this thing goes, and then this thing, one screw kind of locks the entire thing down, so now the whole base doesn't spin or anything. So yeah, so that is pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with that. I can still grip odd shaped things in the other vise thing, but right now I've got this for this purpose. So anyway, I'm pretty happy with this. Next up, we got one, I think it's from Amazon. I think I know what this is. Oh yeah. So these were like $12. They are 480 gigabyte SSDs. And, you know, it's one of those things where, I'll open one up. My supply was running a little low. I wound up reclaiming some of them, but you know, when it comes to building a computer, or updating a computer, there's not a better bang for your buck than replacing a spinning drive with a with an SSD, and even more so when they are $12 for 480 gigabytes. And so, you know, for these things, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll install Linux on one and Windows on another, and just switch them out rather than dealing with multi-boot and all that kind of stuff. Or I've got all kinds of old computers around here, and I bought originally which is actually right here, sitting right next to me. I bought the 240 gigabytes for $11, and the deal with it was that this one would come in prime like the next day, and I legitimately needed one. And then these said that they would take up to a month, but they really took like a week and a half. And so this was like $11 and $12 or $12 and $13, something like that. But I mean, extremely cheap. And I've been using this one for a week or two now, and really it's fine. So anyway, I got 3 of these SSDs, and if you're in the market, I will have a link in the description. And you know, hard to beat. The reviews are good, speed's good, price is right, so no complaints. Next up, we have, make sure they're the right ones, yeah. So I did order another set of these, and I think these come in around $12, maybe $10, but these are 4mm banana jack, just PVC wire, very, very cheap meter probe, hook probes. you know, like that, to grab onto something. And I find myself using them all the time. And the probe end is really cheap, and I probably could replace them, but I have some that I may replace them, but every once in a while they'll bend. But I find this really handy to clip onto a motherboard or something like that when I'm working, and you know, it's just way easier if you're going to permanently attach something to just hook one side so that you can have your other two hands free to move stuff and probe stuff. So more often than not, I hook up like a ground or something like that with this, and then we'll probe around with the other meter probe. And so I got another set of these because I had sort of worn out the black and the red ones, and I probably will get some more hook ends so that I can replace them, because there's no way I'm throwing the other ones away. I just want to have more of them. This is one of those things, totally a first world problem, but I have Studio A over here, which is where I film most of my YouTube videos. And then I've got my soldering station back there, and I've got my computer repair station over there. And I have benchtop power supplies at a couple of these places and meters at a couple of these places, as well as my toolboxes over in the garage. So the stuff I have gets spread out to multiple locations, and not that it's super hard to walk from one place to another, but a lot of times I'm pretty busy with work, so I leave things hooked up and then we'll come back as I have time. So it's kind of nice to not have to rip everything apart, and these are cheap. I think I know what this one is too. Open this one up. This is bigger than I was expecting. This is a 55-foot roll, which is considerably bigger, like in terms of like the spool size. There's a lot of empty space in the middle of that spool, but this is a 55-foot roll of 3:1 1/4 inch heat shrink, and I use this stuff all the time when I'm making cables. I have a lot of connectors that require the wire's thin enough that it requires heat shrink to sort of act as a strain relief. So I use a mix of 3/16 and 1/4. So I'll run 3/16 on the wire, shrink it down, then put this on top of that, shrink that down. And that gives me a pretty nice strain relief and all that good stuff. So, but I have a job that is just absolutely used up this stuff, and I feel like this is like 20 bucks. So rather than having a whole bunch of kits that are missing stuff, I'll replenish my kits, and then I'll have rolls of this stuff for longer. So that is all I got in this mailbag. I appreciate you guys watching, and have a great day.